4 prime ministers in 20 months. What would be different about a 5th?
That is, I think, the question everyone's asking. And, I think the biggest question, as I heard from the previous correspondence here, is, which party can one even recruit from? We're hearing from Marine Le Pen, who's saying it's an obligation to dissolve the parliament. So, of course, she has her position. I've been reading that, the party leader for the Socialists is kind of angling for it. There have been many other, kind of the further left is saying that they will automatically vote, sent to censure the next prime minister. So, I mean, it's an open question. And yeah, I wish I could read some tea leaves here, but I fear that we're going to be dealing with more of the same.
Mm-hmm. Professor, in every iteration of this, there's always the question of the threat of the far right. Marine Le Pen on ice until she has some decision-making, some guidance from the appeals court about a 2027 run. Not enough confidence in Jordan Bardella. Is the national rally still a threat the way it was when Michel Barnier was ousted?
I think that's been the most kind of interesting point of this moment, to see that Marine Le Pen has shifted her discourse a little bit away from calling on Macron to, resign, because it's not in her interest for Macron to resign right now, because then she couldn't run. So, she's leaving it much more in a parliamentary domain. I think she's still very much focusing on, now that we know the appeals trial will be in January of 26, she's looking at a longer term game here. I'm seeing from kind of man on the street interviews of National Front or National Rally voters that they do want a new election, but that, now Marine Le Pen has to balance, some of the more kind of populist voters who want to disrupt the system with the more stable, market-focused, business community that has been less excited about her candidacy. And so, does she tilt the cart now in order to, impose her party, or does she hold her cards closer for a longer trajectory? It looks like that's where she's leaning right now, because it plays in her interest. But it's true that there is a, sort of groundswell from a certain fraction of society looking for change. It may have come up a little earlier, but there's supposed to be a massive day of rallies on Wednesday that was planned before this vote. So there's this block everything movement announced. They're calling for tractors, to block the roads, and it's throughout France. And so, it's like, how is that going to play in? Do we have a new yellow vest movement? Is that going to mobilize or, kind of detract attention from this? I don't know.